No, I can't start like that. Hi, my name is Luke, and this is my story. I grew up in Cape Town. My parents are both Christian, and I grew up in the church. So I know about church life, and I pretty much went to church for most of my life, about till when I was 12, 13, 14-ish. When I went to high school, I met a bunch of friends, and we started a band, and we started playing music together, obviously, because we started a band. But I started drinking when I was 13 with them and a bunch of my friends, and I started smoking weed when I was 14, and I progressively started doing mushrooms and everything else that comes after that. But I stayed away from hardcore drugs, but that's by the by. Throughout that whole time, I tried to fill my life with things and exciting things and recreation, and which for me was drugs and stuff that I did. But it never really satisfied me. I always felt still kind of empty at the end of it, and that I needed something else in my life, but God didn't really seem like an option at that specific point in time, because I thought I knew everything that came with God, and I was kind of cynical about it, and I used to just be kind of rude about it. But I was like, Christians must do whatever they want. So I was really depressed deep down, but I didn't really realize it. I used to sometimes just have like a party on the weekend or whatever, or I'd come home or I'd be drunk, and then I'd start thinking to myself, this can't be all that life is. Or I'd just hurt myself from being crazy when I was drunk and just get depressed and be like, I can't exist like this. But anyway, my life was just going down and just kept progressively getting worse and worse, and I just felt like I had no purpose. But then after a long time of music and everything and playing gigs, I met Christy and Pam in a competition that we were both in called Pump Up the Volume. They were Christians, which I obviously knew from the first time I met them, because they weren't like trying to hide it or anything. But they had the kind of Christianity that I'd really been looking for, or that it was tangible. It was like they were really nice people, but at the same time, there was something about them. I guess it was just who they were, and God just coming through them. But I met them and I made friends with them, but I was still kind of cynical, because I was just like that with Christianity. And I just spent time with them. And after the competition ended, my band won the competition eventually. They said to us, the whole band, they said, if we want to come play shows in Cape Town, will you play with us? So we're like, yeah, totally. So they came to Cape Town, we played gigs with them. It was cool, it was really fun. But in between that, I just chilled out with Pam and Christy at Pam's mom's house, and I made friends with them. And they just spoke into my life in little ways. But at the same time, I was still, like I said earlier, very cynical about Christianity, and everything they were telling me I was taking with like a pinch of salt. So what happened, the one night after we played a gig, I went home at like 4 in the morning after I'd been partying. They all left early, but I had all my gear with me, and I went to my car, and I put all my gear in my car, but then a car pulled up next to my car with like 5 dudes, and they got out the car, and they basically said to me, give us all your stuff or we're going to hurt you. So I gave them my cell phone, I was like, fine, my cell phone was broken anyway, so I was like, take my cell phone. And they started trying to take my drum stuff, and then I was like, no way, these guys aren't taking my cymbals. So I tried to reach down and get my cymbals back, and the guy stabbed me in the back. So at that point in time, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm going to die. I thought I could have, but I wasn't even thinking anything super spiritual, like some people think when they're about to die or whatever. But I just put pressure on the wound, and I pushed myself against my car, took my t-shirt off, stopped the blood, but I could feel the blood pumping out my back. Anyway, I screamed for help. Eventually somebody came. There was car guards there when I got stabbed, but they didn't really help me, thanks car guards. But then eventually somebody called an ambulance. I got into the hospital, they stitched me up, I phoned my parents, and it's not really fun telling your parents that you stabbed at like 4 in the morning. Anyway, after that, the next day, Christy and Pam phoned me, and they told me they'd been like praying for me, and that they felt like something was going to happen to me. So I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, come have coffee with us, and we just want to speak to you. So they spoke to me, and they told me, what are you doing with your life, and your life's being destructive, and they're just trying to, I guess, bring the fear of God on me, which I kind of took a little bit. But anyway, they said to me, come to Durban for a week just to get away. So I thought about it, and the next weekend I played another gig, and I drank so much that I fell over and I tore ligaments in my shoulder. So I had a stab wound in my back, torn ligaments in my shoulder, and that night I just came home and I wrote them an email, and I said, I was just crying. I was like, I can't exist like this. My life sucks. Anyway, I wrote them this whole long email. They probably still have it. But then what I decided, I'd come to Durban for a week. But I was playing gigs, so it was quite difficult. But then eventually I came on the 23rd of December 2007, and I came to church 3 days after I got here. And that Sunday, Linton preached, and then after that they gave an altar call. And I thought to myself, was I ever really saved? When I was young, I tried to have a relationship with God, and I realized that I'd never actually really committed my life to God. So that day I gave my life to God, and then after that, Christy and Pam said to me that you need to change stuff in your life. You need to like make a change. So I decided, after much turmoil and whatever, leaving my friends behind and my band behind, everything my life, I decided I'll move to Durban and I'm leaving everything. So I went to Bible college. I started learning more about God. I started understanding more of who He was, and exactly stuff that I never realized before I was finding out in Bible college. And God just started changing my heart, changing the way that I was. I stopped smoking weed, obviously. I stopped drinking. I stopped a lot of the ways that I was before. God just fulfilled all the stuff that I needed for Him to be in my life. And He just changed my heart. And now, through all that, through all the transformation He's done in my life, I work for the church, which obviously is not the sum total of what you should do after you get saved, but He changed something in my heart and He gave me a heart for the house. So right now I'm doing design and media, and I'm playing music for this awesome chick in Pietermaritzburg. God has really done amazing things in my life, and He can do amazing things in anybody's life. So never think that He can't do anything for you or anyone that you think is in dire circumstances. God can save anybody. So that's my story, and just all glory to God for everything He's done in my life and that He's brought me out of, and everything that I am today is because of God. So He can do it for you.